What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Bourbon of the Week. My name's Chris. I'm going to be your host for today, and I recently put out my video of the Wild Turkey Jimmy Russell 70th anniversary release, and I got to tell you, this was one of my favorite bottles of 2024. When it comes to availability of this bottle, when it comes to the price of this bottle, I absolutely loved it. In that video, and by the way, you can see right here, it's top 5, and that goes off drinkability, price, and taste, not just taste. Now, when it comes to taste, I think there are some bottles that might beat this, but for me, I absolutely love this taste. Somebody commented, though, I actually reviewed this against Wild Turkey 101 straight up in that video, and somebody said, how does it compare to Kentucky Spirit? So I decided, instead of just doing one Kentucky Spirit, because these are single barrels, let's put this up blind against 2 Kentucky Spirits and see who comes out on top. So if you don't know how this works, this is the Great Whiskey Challenge Tasting Kit. We have tag A, tag B, and tag C. That corresponds with A, B in the middle, and then C over here in these glasses. We pour these up, we mix them up so we don't know which one's which. Then we try them out and we figure out which one we like the best, and we do it 100% blind. Let's pour these up, and then we'll talk about these bottles real quick and where they come from. Grab our whiskey wisdom wheel down here. That's plenty good. You know, now that I think about it, this is such a better comparison than Wild Turkey 101. Wild Turkey 101 isn't age stated, although I think it's in that 6 to 8 year range. This is obviously age stated at 8 years. All of the picks, I believe, for Kentucky Spirit are in that 8.5 to 9.5 year range. Now, neither one of these tells us what campus they come from. All it says on this one over here is Warehouse E, Rick number 44. But prior to 2022, I think, people didn't really care that much about it, at least not the general masses, the way that they do today. So from my understanding, if it doesn't say CN, if it just says a letter, it is Camp Tyrone. So my understanding on this bottle as well tells me that Jimmy Russell loves Camp Tyrone, which is what he would put in this, which is what the whiskey in this is. So all of these, again, this one doesn't tell us CN either. This is just Warehouse A, Rick number 22. So I'm assuming, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I know there's a lot of Wild Turkey fanatics out there. This is just my little quick search on Google. I'm assuming all of these are Camp Tyrone. I'm assuming all of them are 8.5 to 9.5 years. This one being 8.5 or 8 years stated. So at least 8 years on that. But that's all the similarities between these. A lot of similarities. So do they taste the same? I haven't always been a Kentucky Spirit fan myself, and I absolutely love this bottle. So are single barrels better than the blend? It's time to find out. Time for the traditional sip. Cheers, y'all. That's really freaking good. Now listen, a lot of people care about the statistics on these bottles, so let me tell you everything you need to know about each one of these. This is 0302 of 2022 is when this was bottled. This was barrel number 0918, again, Warehouse E, Rick number 44. This is a fine wine and good spirits pick. So is this one over here. I lost the tag on this one, but let's go over it. It was bottled on 12/3 of 2020. It's barrel number 20-0272, again, Warehouse A, Rick number 22. If that means anything to you guys, let me know. But I gotta tell you, the first sip on this one, absolutely fantastic. Let's get into this glass right here. I don't know if it was the first sip. This was my first glass of whiskey for the night. This one's so much smoother, so much easier to drink. You can hate me for using that word, but this had some more heat behind it. Also had some more spice behind it. This one feels a little bit more fruity to me, which gives it a lot more sweetness, and then much less harsh when it comes to that ethanol kick. That one's really good. Both of these delicious in their own rights, but definitely leaning more towards my palate on this one than this first one right here. Let's get into glass number 3. Now glass number three is like if these two had a baby. You get the sweetness on this for sure. You get a little bit more of the spiciness than I picked up on this one right here. But that ethanol kick is more even with this one than it is with this one. This one definitely had the biggest ethanol kick, but I want to go back real quick because again, that was the first glass of whiskey for the night. Okay, see, yeah, that definitely toned itself down on the second sip. Very equal when it comes to ethanol, as it should be, right? These are all obviously 101 proof. This one, though, definitely has more spiciness. This one seems a little bit more fruit forward, which I do enjoy. And this one seems like almost the best of both worlds. The question is, which one do I like for my particular palate? And if you like something different, maybe one of these Kentucky Spirits are for you, over the 70th anniversary. The good thing about the 70th anniversary is this is like a widespread release, which I talk about in my original video. I love that Wild Turkey can put out a product like this, which is still a special release, but they can put it out to the masses. I'm tired of hunting 5,000, 4,000 barrel or bottle releases. We can get something that everybody can get their hands on at an affordable price right here. Love that by Wild Turkey. I think they can change the game with stuff like that going forward, because again, maybe we don't have a lot of 14 or 15-year-old whiskey out there that's worth $300, $400 anymore. We can get back into that prime 8 to 10 year range and put it out at a good price. Love this about this bottle. This right here feels quintessential Wild Turkey, right? When I drank the 70th, it gave me a lot more sweetness. I got like a dark fruit note on that, like a plum. It gave me a lot more of a different flavor profile than I'm used to when it comes to a straight up Wild Turkey 101. This one right here leans more towards that Wild Turkey 101 side of things, gets more of that heat behind it, gets more of that rye spice behind it, being, 75, 13, 12, so 13% rye. This one right here, I feel like this is going to be the 70th, and I do feel like I like it the best. I don't want to use the word dark by any means. None of these are dark. When I think dark, I think like chocolatey or like really robust or like cigar smoke or something like that. None of these are dark, but this one's giving me the darkest notes when it comes to that fruitiness. It's giving me what I would equate to like a plum note, which is what I picked up when I had the 70th. Now, this could all be in my head. I've done this to myself before where I'm like, one of these is supposed to have this, which one has it, and then I'll get fixated on that. I try to avoid that as much as possible, but when you do blinds, that's what you kind of do. You kind of fixate on little things that you either remember or didn't like or did like about a particular bottle or release, and that right there seems to be standing out for this particular glass right here. Let's get into glass number 3. This time through on glass number 3, I feel like I'm getting a little bit more away from that sweetness that I picked up originally and leaning more, not as heavy into that spiciness as glass number 1, but not quite as sweet as I thought I was getting on glass number 2. I thought it was the best of both worlds, but it does feel like it's leaning more towards that rye spice, more towards a little bit more of an ethanol kick. That being said, all 3 of these glasses are phenomenal. I'm not going to lie to you about that. I did a little bit of hating on Kentucky Spirit for a while. I thought it was my least favorite of the Wild Turkey lineup because I am a Wild Turkey fanatic. I put it up against Russell's Reserve, though, which is, I mean, that's chef's kiss top tier for me. So when you put it up against something like Russell's Reserve, I don't think it holds a leg to it. Is that even a saying? Is that, by the way, I just had my second baby girl about 2 days ago. So I'm running on fumes here and we're drinking a lot of whiskey tonight. So that being said, I think that Kentucky Spirit isn't quite as good as Russell's Reserve, and I did say in my video that this leans, if you're talking Wild Turkey 101 right here and Russell's Reserve over here, it leans more towards the middle of those 2 bottles than I thought it would. I thought it would lean a lot more towards that Wild Turkey 101 than it does towards the Russell's Reserve, and I wouldn't say it's halfway by any means, but maybe like a third or a quarter of the way closer to Russell's Reserve, which I absolutely love. The thing about all 3 of these glasses is they're all so well balanced. There's nothing that I can't tell you something that I don't like about the glass. This one might have something that I'm not like, it's not my favorite, right? I don't like that extra super spicy. I don't like that sharp edges. This gives me like sharp edges where you don't really fall off of one nicely into the next. You get the flavor profiles, but you're kind of back and forth bouncing off like you're playing Pong or something. But this one right here, that's giving me that nice roller coaster ride that I talk about all the time. I want to call this one my favorite, but this last one is kind of confusing to me. I go back and forth on this because there's notes that like, I feel like the highs on this are better than both of these, but then the lows on this, and I say lows like there's something bad about it. Again, there's nothing bad about it, but the lows on this aren't as low as this. This is like riding nice in the middle, and then this one's like, oh, this is so good, and then I don't really love that, and then oh, this is so great. Where this one right here also seems steady, but it seems like steady lower than this one. I don't know if I'm making any sense to you guys, but this one, this is like a nice wave down here. This one's like a nice wave up here, and then this one's like going between those 2, right? Like the highs and the, anyway, you get what I'm trying to say. I don't hate this glass. I love what I love about this glass, and I'm like, on the rest of it. Here's what I'm trying to say. I could see somebody picking this as their favorite. I could easily see somebody picking this as their favorite. I think I'm going to pick this as my favorite. These two were close, but I think I'm going to give the nod to this one, and then I'm going to go to this one. I don't want to keep you long. Sometimes I do this for way too long, and I just ramble on because I feel like I'm going back and forth in my thoughts, so I want to go back and forth with you guys. And I doubt anybody ever has the exact same barrels or the exact same warehouses that I have. But if you do, blind them and let me know how they do. No, see these two, here's what I'll say. My guesses, let's end it with this. My guesses are that these two are the Kentucky Spirit. My guess is this is the 70th anniversary. Again, I just get that accentuated flavor, that profile that I like a lot more than what I was getting off of these two. These two still did better. If these are both Kentucky Spirit, they did better than I thought they were going to do up against what I think is the 70th anniversary. But there's only one way to find out. Let's flip them over and let's see who won. Who do we start with, number 2 or number 3? Let's get number 3 out of the way and see what it was. A little sip left. Cheers. And this was by no means bad, and it was A. Listen, this was the bottled on 0302 of 2022. This was barrel 0918, Warehouse E, Rick number 44. This was good. A little bit spicy, a little bit more reminiscent of that Wild Turkey 101 flavor profile. That rye spice really kicked in on that one, but still very good. Again, when I took that last sip, I almost questioned myself. But that was a Kentucky Spirit, which I'm assuming this one is as well, which means it will come up as C. Let's find out what it is. Cheers, y'all. Last sip. Drum roll, please. And it is. This is C. Guys, I've been off on a lot of these blinds lately, but we nailed that, which means this one is B. And that is, I mean, it just stands out. I got to be honest with you. If you like that more fruity, that more dark fruit flavor profile, that more sweetness behind a Wild Turkey 101, you're going to absolutely love this bottle. I think it's a pickup all day, every day. I'm going to get backups of this bottle. For multiple reasons. For the value of what it is, the Jimmy Russell's 70th anniversary release, and for how good it is in my flavor profile. This is, if I could only buy one bottle of whiskey in 2024, this might be what I would pick up. But listen, you guys wanted to know how it compared to Kentucky Spirit. Not only did it beat one of them, but it beat both of them. And that's where I'm going to leave you for today. If you like this type of content, make sure you click that like and subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Check us out on Instagram at Bourbon of the Week. Go click that follow button over there. We do a lot of funny content when it comes to whiskey humor. Check us out on Patreon and Discord. Both those links in the description below. Please don't drink and drive. Always drink responsibly. Stay healthy, stay happy, and stay buying the 70th anniversary release. I can promise you, you won't be upset. Cheers, y'all.